I'm going to start DevOps Zero to Hero course on 2026, and in this course we will learn multiple tools and technology. And for this, I have created some roadmap, and we will follow this roadmap. According to that, we'll proceed, and also I will display what are the things and how we can achieve this DevOps course within 2 months, and what are the tools and the prerequisite we have to learn. Basically, there is no prerequisite to learn to DevOps because it's all start with the operating system, and that operating system we are using in day-to-day basis like Windows. And similarly, we have another operating system called Linux. And generally in DevOps culture or DevOps environment, people mostly use a Linux server. So I will try to replicate with the Windows to the Linux and try to show how we can achieve that within 2 months. So let's move to our desktop and explain the roadmap about the DevOps. Okay, so let's start how we can achieve this DevOps Zero to Hero course within 2 months. And this is year 2026. And here, what are the roadmap we have to follow to achieve this goal? So what I will do, I have a total duration of 2 months. In that 2 months period, I will explain clear roadmap, step by step process. Then I will also explain about the tools, what we have to learn, and I will break down this course basis on the weekly. And most of the tools or the learning path we are going to achieve, it's free, and it's have very low cost. I will explain later on. And after that, what are the companies looking for the DevOps 2026? So if you go to the LinkedIn and search DevOps job, you will get many jobs opening which is related to the DevOps. And yeah, so that is the overall what we are going to do. Okay, so the first things, what is DevOps? So DevOps basically a development plus operation, means somebody is developing some application and we need to deploy that application and make it live. So these kind of process or the this kind of process we are going to so these kind of process we will break down into multiple stages and do the application live. And it's helpful to the developer as well. So so what is DevOps? DevOps basically development plus operation. So a DevOps engineer, what exactly they perform? So they automate deployment first. After that, they manage cloud infrastructure. Then they build CI/CD pipeline. Then they uses a container like a Docker and work with the cloud like Azure, AWS, GCP, and also monitor the system if it is related to the CPU, memory, or application monitoring. These are all operation performed by the Docker. So again, you don't need to be expert in the coding as it's mentioned here. You should not focus more on coding, because this is not something like what we have learned in the college where we have to develop the application by using Java, Python, C++. So here no more that such requirement. So basically, but again, we have to understand what is the Linux, what is Linux operating system, basically how it's work. Then we need something around networking basics, and then we also need to learn more about the cloud and the automation, how we can automate the task which is repeatedly performing by the developers, so to deploy the application into the cloud. So these things we will perform. Okay, so the first things what it is, so the core DevOps tools must learn in 2026 as per the market requirement is Linux. So Linux is very important. Why we need to learn Linux? Because whatever the server we are going to deploy, or whatever application we are going to deploy on the server, most of them server are Linux server. So no need to worry about what is Linux and how we can learn it, because we are doing day-to-day basis. If you are operating any operating system like Windows or the Mac, you how we can change the permission, how we can see the process and install some software, and how we can SSH or how we can log into the other system. So the first things here we will learn about the basics of Linux, where we'll cover most of the basic things. So generally, I have mentioned here just as ls means to list the file, cd means change directory, and grep means to find something inside the files, and find command is used to just find out some file detail. After that, we have the file permission. So here again, we need to know how to change the file permission, how to give the files access to the developers, to the DevOps engineer itself, to the any other tester team and all. So they have their own access, and that access should be limited, as they should not delete the files. They can have only read-only access, and if somebody really need the right access, then we can provide the right access to them. Then again, we have the process management, where we can list out what are the process running to our server. Then again, this is package manager, nothing but it is a kind of how we install our any application in our Windows machine. Similarly, the package manager helps to install application in the Linux machine, and SSH is used just they used to switch to other system from one system to another system. So these are the basic things we will learn more about the Linux in the week one. We'll try to complete, and why we need, because most of the server, as I said, it's running on the Linux itself. So definitely we need to learn Linux. Okay, then the next tool we have called Git and GitHub. So what exactly Git and GitHub? So whenever we have a write a code, so one things we can keep in our local directory or in a local system, but if somebody else want to use that, how they can use, they cannot come and ask you, okay, give me the code in the pen drive or something, and so I can use it. So Git is basically a centralized repository where we can keep our code, and so anyone else in our team can use that code. So we will learn more about this as well. So if you want to compare for now what is Git, so you just compare like how we have the Google Drive. So if you give the access to our Google Drive to others, they can also see our files and all. So kind of that you can assume for now. We will learn more about this later on this course. So again, it has some features like how we can what is Git branch, what is Git merge, what is GitHub workflow, and this is DevOps engineer use day-to-day basis. So it's very easy. We can learn very quickly. It's not much very big things to know. So again, we have the Docker. What is Docker and what is Docker container? So I will explain about this as well, where we learn what is container, what is a Docker file, what is how we can build and run Docker, how what is Docker volume, what is Docker compose. So for now, I will just explain what is Docker basically. So Docker is a kind of a containerization tools. So if you want to know more about what is container, so let's assume we have operating system, and in that operating system we install the VMs, and VMs very heavy in size, and to run one application, if we have 10 VMs to run 10 application, it's become very heavy in the size. It has very large amount of CPU, very large amount of memory and storage. But what Docker comes with, Docker only bring the required packages which helps to run a particular application. So if you want to run Python application, then you can go and install a Python Docker container or Python Docker image, and pull into your system and run that. So it's hardly take 500 MB to run your Python application. But if you go through the VM, then it might take 20 GB, 30 GB along with your CPU and memory. So again, this is a very useful, and this tool has to learn very it's a mandatory kind of a tool. If we will not learn this tool, then we might stuck in between, and again you have to struggle to know and learn about this. So this is again a very basic tools, and I will teach you in a layman language where you can understand what exactly and how it's worked. Then again we have the Kubernetes. For now we just understand the Kubernetes how it is. So if you have the 10 Dockers container running, and to manage this Docker container we need somebody. So Kubernetes is the person who orchestrate or manage the Docker container. So these things might be new for you, but I will explain when we will learn about these things. Okay. So again, the fifth thing is a cloud platform. So we can choose any of them. We have mostly three cloud platform which is more famous. One is AWS, other is Azure, and the third one is GCP. So in this tutorial I will more focus on the Azure and the AWS. So later on this course we will understand what are the services they provide, and how we can learn and how we can use these services. Okay. So after that we have the CI/CD tools. CI/CD tools means like it's continuous integration and continuous deployment. So continuous integration means if developer push something, so that code should build and it should do the some testing. So that is called initial testing. And once it's validate, okay, the code is fine, then it will go to the deployment side. So that is called continuous deployment. So the testing phase and the to build phase part is continuous integration, and the deployment phase is part of continuous deployment. So for that we have a tools called Jenkins GitHub Action, and in that we will again perform these tasks as well, how we can automate the task from a developer push the changes to deploy the code onto the server. After that we have infrastructure as a code. Again, this is a very important tool, and that has to learn in 2026. If we will not learn, then again we will miss out a few things which is related to the cloud. So basically this infrastructure as a code we use for the cloud infrastructure provisioning. So whenever we create any cloud resources, So one way we can log into the AWS or Azure server, and there we can use the GUI and create that. But the other way is we can follow a code that is called infrastructure as a code, where we use the Terraform to define how we can list out the things, how we can put the things which is related to the VMs, which is related to the virtual network, which is related to the storage, database, and all, and modify the changes and push it to the repository. And using that repository, we can do the changes in our infrastructure. So okay, so the again the this one is more related to monitoring and logging. So what basically monitoring and logging it is, so let's assume we have a servers and these servers are running fine, but somebody has to monitor the servers. If it is going above threshold, like CPU utilization going 90%, then we should get alert, okay, this particular server went above 90%, and you have to look into it. So that's the one example of monitoring. There are many examples where we can again look for the memory. Again, we look for the application, what application we are running, it is going or performing well or not, or is there any issue in the applications. For that we use the monitoring. And logging, why we use logging, so if something goes wrong, so why it went wrong, that information we should have. For that purpose we use logging. So when we look to the logs, then we can find out, okay, because of these things, the CPU utilization went high, and using that we can rectify the issue and we can fix it. So again, in 2 months, you don't think you will become masters or become expert. So this is a kind of a course where you have the overview, how we can use and how we can at least know about the DevOps things and all, and get the idea. So in the first 2 months, mostly the first month, I will learn, means we will learn along with me what is the Linux basics. Then in second week we'll learn GitHub, and we'll try to create a simple project. And in third week we'll learn about the Docker, and fourth week we'll try to learn about the AWS basics and all. And the second month we'll just deep dive into the advanced DevOps course, where we learn about the Jenkins or GitHub, which is we have to use and why we have to use. And the sixth week we learn about the Terraform. 7th week we learn about the Kubernetes basics and how we can deploy our application into the Kubernetes. And the 8th week we learn about the monitoring things, where we learn about the Prometheus and the Grafana and the Node Exporter, etc. So these are the overview about this course. So what your final project should look like when you complete this course. So in your final project, one app in GitHub, so your code is in GitHub, and that particular code is Dockerized code, so anybody can take that code, use Docker container and run it. And it also helps to create a image, and you can push this image to the Docker hub as well. I will explain why it's need. Then again we'll try to deploy our application into the EC2, and also we'll try to set up CI/CD pipeline. So we'll just make a changes in the Docker hub and it will deploy to the EC2, and in between we will not touch anything. And if you want to do any changes, then we can use Terraform here if it is related to the infrastructure. As I said, here AWS we are using as a cloud infrastructure, and then we'll deploy application in Kubernetes as well. So this project also will helpful for interview, where you can explain what project you have done as part of this. And also this is optional, but if you want to do certification, you can do this certification if you have money or something which you feel to do. So you can do the certification as well. And the learning strategy, what I always prefer, just watch this video and don't watch and just don't do your lab or hands-on. So if you just watch, then you might forget within 2-3 days, or maybe you remember, and after 1 month again you lost everything from your mind. So always I prefer learning is 30% and doing hands-on is 70%. So again, we use a free tier AWS, then we use virtual machine and the GitHub project as part of this. And skills company right now is looking who is comfortable in Linux, comfortable in cloud and the CI/CD. Again, the containerization, then infrastructure as a code, who have a good knowledge of problem solving. Problem solving in the sense how you can automate the things which is repeated into the organization. Then we should. I will also explain something about the Python and the Bash, how you can do the automation changes in your operating system. So again, these are the things we have to learn. So if time permit, I will try to teach you the bash scripting and the shell scripting as well. Okay, so these are the things I just wanted to explain, and I'm going to start this course soon, maybe next week or this week I will upload the first video related to the Linux, which is part of week 1 here. And let's see the feedback. Based on that feedback, I will speed up my uh, speed up the process and speed up the creating video and uploading as soon as possible. So yeah, thank you for watching this, and I will uh, I will suggest you guys please like, share, and subscribe this video. So whenever I will upload the video, then you get the notification, and you can learn as quickly as possible. So happy learning, and yeah, thank you.